Baklava to most people is just a dessert, a layered pastry filled with chopped nuts and sweetened with honey or syrup. And that's it. Just another inconsequential food item that most people don't think twice about. But to me, baklava is so much more. Baklava literally saved my life. I was raised in rural North Carolina, the only Black girl in my classes from middle school on up. I grew up listening to the perspective of white folks. In some circles, we were reduced to an epidemic of single motherhood. I vowed to avoid that fate. I promised myself that I would never become a statistic. In my innocent little eyes, my own family was perfect. That changed when I turned 12 and my parents divorced after 22 years of marriage. Losing that foundation was devastating. My life was being stirred up, my heart tossed back and forth between two parents who I loved very much. I vowed that I would never get divorced, that I would live my life in a way that would bring positivity and happiness, as well as a shining star for others in the Black community. I graduated top of my class from high school and college, and then I got married to my husband and business partner. We had our first child when I was 27 years old. That was what I had always pictured, the perfect recipe to a perfect life. When I was 8.5 months pregnant with our second planned child, my husband asked for a divorce. My dreams had been cut, severed. All the insecurity and pain that I had felt as a 12-year-old little girl flooded back into my body. I could see my white classmates and their parents from my early years nodding their heads as I had proved them correct. I was a statistic, another example of a single Black mother. I felt powerless, that there was nothing I could do to change my fate. When my daughter was born, I found myself crying in tandem with her at all hours of the night. And still running a business with their father put me in a front row seat, watching him move on with his life. The heat was unbearable. I ended up attempting to take my own life, not once, but twice, just to end the suffering. At that point, I needed to make a decision: stay a victim or become a victor. I decided that I was tired of allowing life to happen to me. I switched the story in my head and decided that I was going to happen to life. I sold him my half of the business we shared, and I went back to my own roots, something that felt like home. In high school and college, I loved working for a Greek family in their restaurants. I also had learned from them how to make their traditional honey walnut baklava, and I found my first love, baking. I felt reborn, and baklava was the way I was going to build my new future. I started with the traditional baklava flavor I learned from my Greek friends and fused it with my mom's pie recipes. Sheer Ambrosia was born. My combined life experiences were the exact recipe needed for my own empowerment. At a very pivotal time in mine and my kids' lives, Sheer Ambrosia helped me refocus my destructive thinking into business building. I stopped worrying about what people thought of me and started rebuilding my life, one piece of baklava at a time. Once things shifted, this new venture took the place of me feeling sorry for myself. Now I make the best Greek baklava in the world, or so I've been told. Boxed sophisticatedly, rooted in tradition with a modern style. I am not a statistic. I am my own success story with a beautiful family, rich ancestry and heritage, and the ability to chart my own course, my own destiny. What happens to us does not make us who we are. It's how we rise to the occasion. It's how we deal with the burn that determines whether we will rise from the ashes or not. Sheer Ambrosia Bakery symbolizes each of our paths to reawakening, revitalization, and reinvention. My name is Rita Magaldi. I am first and foremost a mother, a business owner, and a shining example of the power in the Black community. And this is my story.